have a problem with anger. That's right. This sweet, kind, very nice girl you see in front of you has had many, many years of issues with anger. But that's okay because Jay helped me control my anger and taught me a few things to help me not be as angry and mean. And so lately, I've been researching on how to help my anger a lot faster and be better at this. So stay tuned to the end to find out what I have done in the last month to take my 0 to 10 instant anger to a 5 immediately. So Jay, can you tell us what you've done to get control of your anger and what you've done to become the Zen master that you are today?
All right, well, anyone who's watched me play League of Legends would not call me a Zen master, but I am pretty good. Mm-hmm. I don't get angry at much these days. But before I tell you, what is the purpose of anger? Why does it exist? Why would nature or evolution allow us to have anger if it's so terrible?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't know.
So do you agree that life is just a bunch of topics that we interact with? So you experience a relationship experience, you experience a work experience, you experience a family experience, you experience a disrespect experience, you experience a got betrayed and cheated on experience. Like, life is a bunch of topics that we experience.
Yes.
You could experience something in one area or another area. An experience can be a combination of multiple areas overlapping, but overall, it's a bunch of topics.
Yes.
Okay. So if life is a bunch of topics, does it make sense that we can approach each topic of life in a healthy, helpful, positive, valuable way that serves us versus a painful, negative, less valuable way that doesn't serve us?
Yeah.
Okay. So life is a bunch of topics that we can approach positively or negatively. Doesn't nature need some kind of way for us to decide or figure out which approach is beneficial and which is harming us?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of compass or guidance system might nature give you to tell if you're approaching a subject or topic correctly?
Anger?
Yeah, or any emotion.
Yes. Yeah.
If you right, if you take two people and you put them in a League of Legends game, and one of them gets angry, and it's the exact same game, exact same players, exact same everything, and the other one is like, that was a funny game. Oh my goodness, I'm glad I got practice.
Right.
Which one of those feels anger about the game, and which one of those feels happy about the game?
If it's you, then you're angry.
Come on, man.
I'm just teasing.
I'm getting better.
You are.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. You are.
What I'm saying. And so then that person is approaching the subject of League in what way?
In a healthy way.
Exactly. And what is notifying them that one is approaching it in a healthy way and the other is approaching it in an unhealthy way? Is it the anger specifically, or is it...
It's their emotions.
Right. Yeah. Yes. So our emotions are for what?
To guide us and to tell us if we're being healthy or unhealthy, or if how we're feeling about a particular topic, whether this is something we need to work on or not.
Right. So anyone who feels angry, what is the anger there for?
To tell them that they have some stuff they have to work on, and they're maybe not too healthy about this topic or surrounding topics. Because I know for you, League of Legends, that makes you mad, right? So, yeah, it's other topics when you play the game.
Yeah, I'll get into that later. But The point is, anger serves a purpose, and people fear it and hate it and avoid it and think it's bad, but it serves a purpose, like all our emotions. And it might not be something you want to stay in or dwell in, but it's there to help you briefly.
Right.
But just like anything, if we overdo it, it stops helping us.
True.
Okay. As for what I did, I practiced noticing which topics or thoughts would push me towards anger, and I would switch those, replace those. It's sometimes tricky because it's a habit, a habitual thought, but that's what you got to do. You got to switch the anger-causing thoughts for better thoughts. Okay, that was the first thing I practiced.
Okay.
Second thing I practiced was setting a new emotional baseline. So if I often see red about a certain topic or a certain form of treatment or behavior, I knew I needed to get to a different emotional place about those. Like, I can't remain in anger. And so every moment that passes, or every time that thing happens, or that topic is raised, it's a chance for me to tap into a different feeling. It's a chance for me to self-soothe, take a sip of water, do the 5-second rule or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a chance for me to access a different emotional response.
Right.
Rather than anger. Again, we have habitual emotional baselines that we're comfortable at. And so this can sometimes take many different tries and fails and practices. But eventually, you will get to a point where you just don't have the same emotional baseline for that topic. When I first started working on my anger during League of Legends, my emotional baseline was like livid rage. If you look at my tracking sheet, you'll see every game I was furious.
So Jay tracks his emotions while he plays League of Legends, and he color codes each game so he can tell at a glance.
Yeah, they were all red
Yeah.
in the beginning, like one yellow.
Maybe we can put up a here if you care to share. If not, cool.
Yeah, all good. But if you look at my tracking sheet now, my emotional baseline is slightly mildly annoyed. And so that's not great. That's not what I want for my end goal. I want to be happy and joyful.
Right.
But it's huge progress. And so you see that I've set a different emotional baseline over time through a lot of practice. So that was the second thing I did.
Okay.
And now when I play, like, I'm generally pretty chill.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Except for the occasional like rough situation or whatever.
Well, I see your tracking, and I've seen where you say my team was trash, but I was calm. Like the game was white, which is the best you have currently. And it just says like, we lost, team was trash, but hey, I was relaxed and calm, which I think is great. And that's the whole point, really, because you don't care if you win or lose. It's about remaining calm. And we've played games where it was like kind of rough and you were super calm. Where I remember 5 years ago when we first started playing, not so calm. I mean, you're gentle because it was me and I was a newbie and stuff, but you still lost your temper. So it's a huge transformation. I think it's pretty impressive, especially now that I am working on my own anger issues. It's really good role modeling for me. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you. And the third thing I practice is tweaking my environment to self-soothe. So if something in your environment is making you angry, basically you got to act like a grown-up and make a tweak, like fix it.
Yes.
Your environment isn't set in stone permanently, like Thanos will snap his fingers and make it go back to however he wants it.
Right.
It's changeable. If your posture is not good, get a pillow, adjust your chair, do something different. Change your position, lie down, go to a coffee shop, I don't know, go to a library, whatever, get creative, figure something out. And my posture's better, and now I'm not so crunchy and cranky anymore. My anger is soothed a little bit. Or if someone in your environment is irritating you, and you currently spend 4 hours a day with them, find a way to spend 3.5 hours. Go take a break, go for an extra long bathroom break, go for a walk, take some self-care breaks, say you have to meditate. Whatever, run away and hide. I don't care, but like get proactive about your environment. When we have frustrations or irritations or annoyances or anger, there's generally something in our environment we can tweak to get instant relief. And most people just don't. They just stay angry. I don't know what you're doing. Why are you not making slight improvements to your environment?
Yeah, it was me. This was me. I get angry and then sulk about it or stew about it and just be really mad about it or hate write about it and not tweak my environment or not like change the music or the media or whatever that I was consuming in the moment or whatever.
Yeah, watching Trump pissing you off, don't watch.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Then you'll spend less time angry.
It's true. When he was first elected and I was watching all the time, all the news at all hours, and I was super mad. I finally was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't take it. I was so angry that I stopped all news watching and all media that mentioned him as a last resort. But it should have been the first thing I did.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? Oh no, the feed keeps serving it up to me? Train your feed. Somehow it got that way. You can untrain it.
Yes.
It will learn. It's AI. Like your feed is an algorithm.
Yeah.
If you keep ignoring the Trump stuff and go click on a bunch of, I don't know, League of Legends games or hot women or something, you're going to train it into that.
Yeah.
Go watch a bunch of music videos over and over and over, and your whole feed will just be music videos.
True. All right.
So those are the three things I mainly practiced to massively improve my calmness and peacefulness and contentedness in most situations.
Yeah. And I started by saying you were the Zen master, and I wasn't being sarcastic. With everything else, and even with League now, you're way better. But everything
I've been
else,
through a lot in life.
You're so calm where the moment I freak out, it's like, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's instant calming. I mean, maybe not like to a two, but like your relaxed, positive attitude and calmness is so soothing and kind of irritating too, when you're really livid and raging at someone else and you're like, it's okay.
Yeah, you know why that is?
The world. No.
You know why that is?
No.
Because humans resonate on similar frequencies. Like if I'm trying to focus and have a calm, peaceful work time, and a kid keeps laughing and being boisterous and overzealous, it becomes difficult for me, right? Because we're not on the same frequency. We're not on the same vibe. We're not on the same energy. We're not on the same emotion. We're not even close. We're so far that it feels like disharmony, discord. Something is a mismatch. If I am super calm and taking life's curveballs well and just, it's fine, we'll work through it, and you're super emotional and angry and raging, we are super far apart on the emotional scale, and it will feel like disharmony. Like, how come you're not on the same level or same frequency or same page with me about this topic? I think this topic is a giant drama. You seem to think this topic is not worth mentioning. It's unpleasant. Or as the dad feels like it's work time, it's quiet work time, and the kid feels like it's laughing, happy, excited, boisterous times, there's something off. It doesn't feel correct, and it's uncomfortable. And so one of the two will try to bring the other one to their level. The kid will like tug the dad away from work and let's go play and yada, yada, yada. Or the dad will get super mad and put the firm discipline down and take away all the kid's fun.
Yeah.
Because the discord and the separate emotions can't last too long. It's also why staying calm in a fight or an argument is the quickest, best way to diffuse a situation. Because if you can keep that up, the calmness will infect the other person.
Yeah, that's usually what happens. And there's lots of times. It makes total sense.
Well, sometimes it goes the other way and I can't stay calm.
Yeah, that's happened too.
But that's when your emotional frequency is stronger than mine. And I couldn't stay calm long enough.
Yeah. So maybe the people who are watching who really know me, like they're saying, my family is probably like, yeah, you have no idea.
You have super strong emotions and your frequencies overpower everybody.
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes. And like I said, it feels very weird and frustrating when I'm like at a 200 in rage and you're like, what?
Yeah, but there's two options to fix that disharmony. Either you come down to my level and chill out and be a 2, or I turn up and become as angry as you are. And then you're like, yeah, that's more like it. And everything goes back to normal. Like it feels natural. I mean, now we're both angry, but
right.
It would still.
But it feels more, we feel more in sync and it feels more comfortable when even if we're not the same.
Two angry people, their misery loves company, man. They're all about it. Right. Yeah. But same with two calm people.
Yes.
It's when you have the opposites where the discord happens.
Right. And so one of the reasons I decided to work on my anger issues is because of this, because you are a very calm person.
Yeah, we won't get along very well
and
if you can't join me here.
Right. And I don't want to be at a 10 for everything. Right. And so most things are a 2 or 3, but me, of course, as soon as something, it doesn't matter what it is, to go from 0 to 10, there's nowhere else to go after that. So everything makes me mad. Everything infuriates me. Everything makes me livid. I know that's what it's like. And to my poor kids too, growing up, this is why they walked on eggshells. This is why I was like, do whatever she says and keep her happy. And, and so.
That's probably why you held on to it. That's probably why you stayed angry. It got results.
Yeah.
If I'm angry, everyone just does what I want.
Yeah. If I tell the kids.
Eggshells, yeah.
Yeah. If I tell the kids clean your room once, twice, they still haven't done it, then it's so much easier to just scream and yell and then it gets done.
There you go. Now I get on with my day.
Right. But this is a habit that I have cultivated that I do not like. I do not want to keep. And so I've changed so many things in my life, and the anger is one of the big things that I haven't worked on. So that's why it's coming up for me now. And that's why we're talking about it, because we've never talked about it before, because I never wanted to admit that I had a problem with anger. And if you follow our newsletter, I will be discussing it this week too in our newsletter. So I'm a very passionate person. I feel all my feelings pretty intensely, but none of them, not love, not sex, not intense primal passion, have ever felt as intense in my body as anger. I can vibrate with it. I like turn different colors, and it just feels so strong and so intense.
You're just introducing the second question.
I know. So why does anger feel so intense and so strong for me?
Okay, well, first of all, do you think that anger feels that intense for everyone, or do you think some people feel depression more intensely, and some people feel boredom more intensely, and some people feel joy more intensely, but you in particular feel anger more intensely? Or do you think anger is like that for everyone?
I never actually thought about it. I mean, I've seen people really, really angry, like I can get, and those people, I would guess it's just as intense.
Okay.
But I want to say that other people feel other emotions just as intensely. So it's not just anger.
Right. And do you think everyone feels all emotions exact same intensity? Or do you think everyone has a peak? Everyone has one emotion that's going to be felt more intensely than others?
Again, I never thought of that. So yeah, like since just based on my own personal experience, I would guess that we all have one particular emotion that we feel stronger than others.
Yeah, and try to use logic. If all 8 billion people all felt all the emotions all at the exact same intensity, and none of them had an emotion that felt higher intensity than others, what kind of world would that result in?
Robot world.
Yeah. So, like everything in nature, it's probably like different for all the individual creatures, right?
Okay. That makes sense.
Makes sense. No?
Yeah.
If someone does an experiment someday and finds out that my theory is wrong, like everyone does feel them all at the exact same level across all the spectrum of all the emotions, fine, I'll eat my words. But I'm pretty sure no experiment's going to show that.
Fair play.
So then you feel anger very intensely, but someone else feels sadness very intensely.
Yeah.
Now, why might that be the case? Why would someone be extra good at something, extra high results at something, extra high experience of something?
Practice.
Yeah. So a basketball player who's really good at sinking 3-pointers compared to another basketball player who really gets into the dunks, what's the difference between these two?
Well, they're going to be better at their whatever the thing they like to do more often, or they practice more often.
Yeah. Whatever they've practiced more often. It almost doesn't even have to be whichever they like more often. If you show me two people, one hates what he does, but he's practiced it 50,000 times. The other one's super passionate, but he's just starting. Who's going to win?
The guy that's practiced.
Right. You don't even have to like it. It's just whoever's practiced something the most wins.
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Yes.
So now if we apply that to emotions and people who excel at a certain emotion, people who have an extreme experience of a certain emotion, what could we conclude?
That particular emotion they've had a lot of practice with.
Yeah.
And I have had a lot of practice with anger.
Right. But have you had a lot of practice in deep appreciation or blissful joy or orgasmic pleasure? Like,
no.
Well, where's your practice at, right?
Wow. I'm blown away. Actually, I never ever considered that that's why I feel so intensely. It makes total sense. Of course, I'm great at being angry. Of course, I'm great at going from 0 to 10 in a second because I've been doing it for a really long time.
Yeah.
I'm super angry for a really long time.
Have you been practicing peace and harmony for a really long time?
2 years.
Have I been practicing peace and harmony for a really long time?
Yes.
Yeah. It's my favorite thing. I'm obsessed. I love peace and harmony. I can't always get it. Some people are hell-bent on picking fights and being contrarian and going against me and whatever. But I really am focused, and I go into every discussion with a focus on finding the truth together in a cooperative way and reaching harmony together and coming to some agreement together. And I'm happy to be wrong about anything along the way. And so there's a difference between our level of practice. And so my most intense emotion might be harmony. When I'm in harmony with someone, it's like sublime. It is heaven. And I don't know if everyone experiences harmony that way or has such an intense peak from that emotion, but that's my emotion. Like, for example, I'm not saying that's the case with me. It could be a different emotion, but similarly, you're going to be like, anger. Like, this is it. This is the stuff. This is life. This is my highest emotion. This is the peak feeling. Like, generally, our most practiced emotion is the one where we feel most alive. Not that we should, but we will. Like, we've made it into the one that makes us feel most alive. Similar to how some people make a certain drug the time they feel most alive. You don't have to have all of your life pale in comparison to the drug. You could feel most alive while surfing. You could replace your drug with surfing. Some people do. They go from drug addicts to surfers, and now they feel alive while surfing. But why? Like, how did they replace this? Through practice.
Well,
And so you may feel most alive when you have anger, but you could have chosen any other emotion, really, to feel most alive with.
Well, it makes sense because it used to be depression that I felt the most intense.
So there you go. It's changed.
And it changed to anger when I stopped going to therapy and started working on finding happiness and being happy. Even though I wasn't fully happy, I took the intensity away from the depression and onto the anger.
So this is brilliant. This is an amazing thing you brought up, because on the emotional scale, depression is lower than anger.
Yeah.
And so the emotional scale basically measures our level of personal power, how powerful we feel in our lives. No one likes to talk about this, like power's a touchy subject, but feeling personal power is one of the peak feelings you can have. Like, I feel like a god, literally. I feel divine. I feel spiritual. I feel connected to all of humanity. I couldn't feel more blissful, right?
Right.
This is peak power. So the highest emotion you can feel is divine power. And the lowest emotion you can feel is a powerless human, because it's the opposite of everything you know you are. Deep in your heart and your mind and your soul and your body and your cells, you know you are a powerful human capable of anything. Like many humans before us, the lowest of us can create the most incredible things in life. And you know that. And so anytime you feel down towards depression or worthlessness or powerlessness, it's the worst. So someone who spends a lot of time in depression or powerlessness, when they reach anger, what's that going to feel like on the emotional scale, right?
Yeah, it feels like you're actually taking control.
Yeah.
And you
feel
power.
More powerful.
Yeah.
Right. And that's amazing. If you see a child who's just lethargic and tapped out of life and not even trying, or they've given up, or they're just sitting in a corner, and then you see them start throwing toys, you have two options. You can get mad at them and yell at them and punish them for throwing the toys, or you can be thrilled, oh, it's the first time this kid has moved in weeks.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
This is huge. I don't want him to be an angry child, but I think this is a good thing. And so this is what happens in life. All of us move up the emotional scale one step at a time, and we don't always do it beautifully or execute it well. Sometimes we're pretty harsh about it, or our anger causes other problems,
right.
But it actually is us empowering ourselves. It's a step of self-empowerment. And depending on who we're around, we're going to get punished for increasing our personal power and making a good emotional journey and moving towards happiness, or we're going to get encouraged to do it. We're going to have a safe space to process those emotions, and someone will see us for what it is and be like, okay, it's good that they've moved up the emotional scale. And so you felt depression so intensely, and somewhere deep down, you knew this is not right. And when you started looking to be happier, you made it to anger, and you were proud of it. You were like, this is good. I'd rather be angry and this gets shit done. And, and it's and it is technically good, but we don't want to stay there. We don't want to dwell in there. We don't want to take it out on others. It's okay to be in the emotion of anger. It's not really okay to use your behavior poorly, right? Your behavior can hurt others. There's lots of ways to feel and express anger that don't hurt others.
Yes.
But if someone feels and expresses anger and does hurt others, this is where things get murky. But technically, really, it's okay to go from depression to anger. It's a very empowering thing, feeling-wise.
Right.
It's not super great to go from depressive behavior to angry behavior, society doesn't like it. Like, it won't go well.
Right. Yeah.
So
Agreed.
ideally, you would move to anger without behaving and expressing poorly. But even that, technically, for a brief moment, should be okay. Pounding a pillow or screaming into a pillow or smashing a wall or something, like, it might be okay if it gets someone out of depression, you know? I'd rather have like 100 punched walls than 100 depressed humans, you know?
Yeah.
We can patch up the wall. Really tough to fix the human, right?
Yeah.
Like,
true.
So in League, whenever I feel trapped in a team of incompetent or uncooperative people, I'm livid. Like, it's the least favorite thing on earth. I told you I love harmony and cooperation and agreement and working together and finding truth. What's the opposite of that?
Your League teams?
Yeah, or any team. Even if I'm in a work team. When I used to work retail jobs like a lifetime ago, I'd be trying to make the place faster and more efficient and better and more beautiful and more awesome. And I'm always rising everything up. And anyone who got in the way of that drove me bananas, man.
Yeah,
like,
I can imagine.
And I'm okay working around their stuff. Like, oh, you have an issue with that? Well, maybe we could find another solution. But if they're just obstinate, like just uncooperative or incompetent, like they shouldn't even be in that role, in that position. You know, I could feel like I'd start to get a little angry just describing it.
Right. Yeah.
But the point is, it makes me feel super powerless if I'm trapped. If I can walk away from the team, like quit the job or go find my own thing or go be a lone wolf, I don't care. I won't say nothing to them. I won't get angry at them. Nothing. It's just like, all right, whatever. I found some ghetto people. I'm going to find some amazing ones.
Right.
No biggie. But if you put me in a cage or you say you have to work with these 3 people or these 4 people to accomplish a goal, like me in group work, man, like you better give me some competent, cooperative humans.
Yeah.
Because to me, I didn't come to Earth to work with incompetent, uncooperative humans. I came to assemble a team of greatness. And I deserve a team of greatness. And I get angry if I feel that's not available, especially if I'm trapped. And in a league game, you're not technically trapped. You can walk away. But every time you exit a game early, they penalize you.
Yeah.
You get punished and punished and punished and punished.
Right.
And then your account gets banned. And so unless you're like made of money to buy new accounts or you have some way around this, you're kind of trapped in there with them until the game ends. And so I feel super powerless when I'm forced to work with incompetent or uncooperative people and I'm trapped in there with them and I have no way out, at least without getting like some penalty or something. Like, feels like trapped.
Right.
And so I need to find some way to feel more powerful fast in that situation, because the lowest feeling you can have is powerlessness. And the longer you spend there, the worse your life will get. Like, you cannot stay there long. Someone stays depressed and powerless for a long time, it's really bad and hard to watch. I would much rather them get angry about something ASAP.
Yeah, it's very painful to stay like that and feel so powerless.
Yeah, no one wants this. No one wants to feel this. And as soon as they start, you know what? Screw this team. Screw this game. I'm done with you. Like, as soon as they do that, like, it's like they've taken the power back. They've taken a little control. I'm not saying it's great. I'm not saying it's good behavior. I'm not saying I encourage this in others. I'm not saying this is not something to fix or work on or improve. All that's true. But something else is also true, which is in a situation where they felt powerless, they proactively moved to anger and figured out a way to feel more powerful. And hopefully they move through that quickly. Because once they do that, oh, I'm done with this team, now they're calm or they're like bored, right? They've moved from powerlessness to anger quickly to boredom in the span of 60 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
Great. I'm glad they're not raging at the team anymore. They've moved on to boredom. It's
progress.
Vaguely better. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe they can move to like, you know what? I'll give this another shot. And they start helping the team again.
Yeah.
Who knows? Now they're at contentment. That's huge.
That is huge.
In 60 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever. But if people start raging back at the person when they're at anger, they're likely to get more angry. And so they're never going to make it to boredom or contentment. And you're just going to have an angry person in your game the whole time, right? If we repress people's emotions or try to make them feel bad or punish them for feeling those emotions, they're not going to make any further journey. A lot of the times they'll just plateau right there.
This makes so much sense of why I plateaued in anger for a really long time.
People probably made you feel bad for your anger.
Yeah. Like my ex-husband, not to call him out again, but like I would get angry and then he would get angry. And then it was 2 angry people trying to figure out how to stop being angry. And it just, neither of us could elevate because we were both angry. And we were both like putting the anger onto each other.
Yeah. Does it make sense that any of you would ever raise up the emotional scale unless someone consciously and intentionally takes the first step?
No, of course not.
Right.
That's why when we first met, one of the first things I said to you was like, I'm always unhappy and I'm angry, and I've only experienced pockets of happiness. Well, of course I did. If he's angry all the time and I'm angry all the time, there's no space for happiness. There's no space to elevate and go past happy. And so since we split up and you and I have been together, I've been able to elevate past that, but I haven't practiced. Like, I feel all the other emotions and I feel happy and I'm loving and kind. And actually, I didn't even think about it until just now that what feels like supreme rage when I get mad now is nothing in comparison to how it was back then when I had a partner who was as equally angry, period. So this makes so much sense. Again, I'm like, you're blowing my mind, learning new things. And this is really going to help me moving forward and to move past some of these anger issues that I've had.
Yeah, I'm super glad it helps. My pleasure. And I should point out that we're all super powerful at all times. Yes. People have insane amounts of divine power and creativity to come up with the craziest solutions and manifest all kinds of miracles. You couldn't even, if you read all the stories of people's like miracle lives and crap they're doing and stuff that you wouldn't even believe happened and timing happened and whatever, it's insane. People are powerful and valuable, and they have far more resources than they realize. But even me can sometimes feel powerless in certain situations. I shouldn't. It's not right or correct, but it's life. Sometimes life throws us a curveball and we feel powerless for a certain amount of time. The trick is to make it brief and rise up the emotional scale. Feel powerless and feel sad a little bit, then feel angry. Maybe I start blaming somebody. Now I'm just frustrated. Now I'm bored. Now I'm content. Now I'm fine. Now I'm kind of happy, right? Now I'm joyous. Now I'm blissful. Like, you can make the journey in a short time.
Yes.
On any topic. Yes. And that's what our emotions are for, to show us which topics we're approaching poorly.
I agree 100%. And it makes so much more sense now to me why, even though I can rise up on the emotional scale like that super quick, but why the intensity of the anger has remained, because I haven't practiced taking that with me.
Yeah, it's your most practiced home emotional baseline.
Yes. It's
your familiar emotional baseline. And when you go there, it feels like home. It feels comfortable. Yes. It feels powerful. It feels alive. It feels practiced. Everything else feels like a reach, because it is a reach. You're home at anger. You're at home in anger. It is a reach to feel blame or frustration or contentment or boredom. It's a super reach to feel happy.
That's why it felt like...
But you got to do it.
It felt hard to be happy in the beginning.
Of course it feels hard.
But then why does now I feel like way less? Like, I'm happy.
Because you're more practiced. It was hard in the beginning, then you practiced, and now it's
easy. It's way easier.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when people practice. You go rock climbing, it's hard to reach up in the beginning. It's scary and hard and frightening and whatever. It's the hardest thing you've ever done is to reach that next hole.
To let go.
But once you've been bouldering for 20 years or whatever, you reach super far, you start jumping. It's whatever. I'll reach anything and hold on.
I've seen those rock freaks.
From practice.
Yeah.
It's from practice. And same for your emotions. If you're at home at some super low emotion, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you got there. I'm not going to blame anybody, but I know what you got to do. You got to reach for better. And reaching in life is never as comfortable as just chilling.
No.
Yeah. So people will choose comfort zones.
Yes. It is completely out of my comfort zone to reach for happiness over and over again. And it makes sense though, since tweaking my life in the last few months, why it feels way easier to let go of some of this anger.
Yeah, man. Some people, their trigger topic is their spouse or their partner. It's like they feel angry or depressed about that. Some people, the trigger topic is video games or competitive sports or
business,
incompetent teens. For some people, it's clients and business and money. You go to that topic and they're like all the way in the lowest emotion, right?
Yeah.
And it's intense. It's like, dude, we were just talking. Like, why are you so cray-cray? Like, we just mentioned business and you went ballistic. It's like, they can't help it. It's their practice. It's their habit. Now, it's tricky. or at least it feels like they can't help it. They absolutely can help it, but it's a reach and it takes practice and it's going to be a journey and you won't get it in the first 6 months. Like 6 months later, 8 months later, then maybe people bring up that topic and you're okay with it. So
yeah, we were at a party and you asked somebody about their business and they jumped your shit because they were unhappy with whatever was going on in their stuff.
I don't know. I was just trying to help.
Yeah. Well, you were just saying, hi, what's
Making
up?
Small talk.
Like, what's new, dude? What's going on with your podcast or whatever it was? He was like, that makes total sense, though. And I got mad and I got mad.
But I understood him.
You did. I was the one that was like, what a jerk. And well, you're like, no, it's cool. It's cool. Like, we don't know what's going on. And you were super calm about it. And I was like shooting daggers at him every time I saw him the rest.
Sure. And it could be because his home emotion on that topic is crunchy, cranky anger. But then your emotion on the topic of disrespect is cranky, crunchy anger. And so now you're both at your home emotion. My baseline is just peace. Like, I just want peace, man. Whatever. You don't want to talk about that? It's cool. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to get back to my other friends.
Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly what happened. And I was like, I was so mad. I was so mad that I told the hostess of the party. I sure did. Anyway, this makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. I love when you give me amazing insights on the podcast to share with everyone else. And so if you see me being a little emotional or hear me being a little emotional today, it's because being angry is not something that I enjoy anymore. It's not something that feels good to me. I don't feel powerful when I'm angry. Actually, I feel loss of power.
oh, that's a good sign. Because when we go up the emotional scale, when we go from depression to anger, we get that feeling of power. And it's like, it's a good step. And we don't want to stay on that. We want to get to boredom or contentment or something.
Right.
And those will feel powerful too. Once you drop the anger and you get bored, then it's all right. And then once you get content and you're done with the boredom and you're kind of like interested in life, you're like, wow, that was more empowering. And so the thing about moving from up emotional scale is it always feels empowering, right? It moves you towards powerful, divine power. And moving down the emotional scale always feels disempowering. It makes you feel powerless. And so if you're used to being calm or you're used to living an okay life, then when you hit anger, it's like, I'm not an angry person. I don't want to be angry. What happened to my day? And so
this is how I feel now.
Sure, because your new emotional baseline is more at contentment or happiness or something. And now, anytime you drop back to your old anger, even though it's familiar and it's still intense, you know somewhere it's disempowering you. You know, I'm moving down the emotional scale now. And so we're never really confused about where we are on the scale. Like, you always know if you go a little down, that felt disempowering. If you go, that feels empowering. And you've pinpointed where you are, right?
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And that explains why I'm so like, okay, I have to fix this now. Because every time I step into anger, it just feels like I've lost something. It feels disempowering. I feel lost.
But 10 years ago, when you were depressed all the time and sad at your life, didn't the anger feel like,
it felt good,
energizing and empowering, and I'm taking control back and I'm taking over my life?
Yes. And even a few years ago, when we lost our funding, and
you were super powerless.
Yeah,
you felt super powerless.
I felt super powerless, and I got really mad, and I got 6 clients in a week.
Bam! Way to step up.
Yeah.
But then you started thinking you can only get clients in anger. It's not that. It's that when you empower yourself up the emotional scale on certain topics, it literally empowers you to do more things.
Yes.
So you can empower yourself out of anger into boredom or into contentment, right?
Yes.
And then you could get clients that way. Or you could empower yourself into happiness and get clients a happy way.
Yeah.
You can get clients an angry way, or you can get clients a happy way. You know, you can be determined, I'm going to, or you can be like, I'm going to do better today than I did yesterday. Like,
yeah,
it's still the same getting clients, right? It's still the same activity.
Yeah.
But there are different emotional set points you can be at when you do it.
Yeah. Because since then, the clients, when I've gotten clients, it's when I'm peaceful and happy and excited to send this message or reach out to them, or like a lot of times they reach out to us and like I'm not even pitching them.
You got a better emotional set point.
Yeah. So this makes a lot of sense.
Right. And if it's not high enough, you can raise it even higher. It's always empowering
Yeah.
to move up the emotional scale.
It's the best teacher in the whole world, man. Like, if you were listening to that and you didn't learn something about yourself, then, you know, we may be in the wrong podcast, because that was fire. Like, that whole thing. There was like 5 sound bites I want to take to share on socials, because that was so good. The whole thing. You're awesome. I feel so much better about this topic in general, and with myself and my practice. And I can't wait to practice even more. So thank you so much. Okay. So then, Jay, why does it feel like it's really hard to stop being angry, even when I'm not actually angry and I'm just thinking of like not being angry?
Well, why is it harder to stop a speeding train than one that's sort of just inching along the tracks? One you could stop with like a wrench on the tracks. The other one's just gonna destroy the wrench and keep going.
Well, because one has momentum, one's going faster. Okay.
So, do emotions have momentum?
Oh yeah, because if I feel angry and then like someone annoys me slightly online, or my mom sends an annoying text, then it like adds to the emotion, and then it gets bigger and bigger, like a snowball.
Exactly. So it's a pretty straightforward answer, no?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
You asked, why is it hard to stop a certain emotion?
Right.
And I said, why is it hard to stop a certain train?
Because it starts getting faster and faster, more momentum.
Right.
Okay, but what about when, like, I'm not even angry, but I think about, all right, controlling my anger, dealing with it, even if I'm in a like physically happy space, but thinking about it feels hard. Like, oh, I can't do that. It's so hard to control my anger.
Sure, because is it hard to stop a speeding train?
Yes.
So it's a totally reasonable thing to
You're right.
think.
Okay.
But sometimes in life, do we have to stop a speeding train?
Yeah.
Got to figure out a way.
Yes.
At least switch the tracks and redirect it. Something.
Yes.
Yeah, that's life, man. If you've practiced your anger or any other emotion so much that it's a speeding train that's almost impossible to stop, sucks to be you, but I got news for you, man. Like, you got to figure out a way to stop that train.
Right.
There's no pill. There's no magic answer. There's just practice. There's just human practice. You can be angry forever, or you can actually apply yourself and fix this. And it takes baby steps, and it's hard to stop the speeding train at first. Sometimes you just switch tracks and then massage it a little bit and then talk to the conductor once or twice and it doesn't go well, but then you try and get it again. Like, I don't know. You got to figure out a way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, it feels extremely hard to stop a speeding train, and it feels super hard to stop the speeding train of my anger.
Yeah.
When it gets going.
Right. But have you done it before?
Yes.
And could you do it again?
Yes.
And so, just takes
practice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Hey, man, if you want a better quality of life, you want emotional control and emotional mastery, if you don't want to be run by your anger or your depression or your anxiety or whatever, your guilt, then you got to start practicing different emotions. The only reason they're so intense and at the forefront and present and prevalent is because they've been practiced way more than everything else. And now it's your home emotion. It's your emotional set point on certain topics. So you got to practice your approach to those topics. Your emotions are there to guide you and let you know you are approaching this topic in an incorrect way. I don't feel disempowered in my league games when I get mad. I feel empowered. My problem isn't getting angry. I want to get angry. If I feel powerless for some stupid team that won't do anything, the game sucks and I hate this and I hate my life, I want to get angry.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what? Screw these guys. And now I feel better.
Yeah.
And now I'm not so whiny and powerless. And now it's a slightly more healthy, confident approach. I want to get angry. I'm happy for that journey on the emotional scale. I'm not happy for it to stick around more than 3 seconds, right? I want it to be like, and then on.
Yeah.
I'm not happy if I express it poorly or take it out on the team or take it out on people around me or throw a mouse or something. I don't know. Like, I don't do those things. But my point is, it's important to me to improve how I express that anger and also improve how long I spend in that anger.
Right.
And so I'm happy that I took away some momentum from my powerless sadness and disappointment in the game. And I'm happy I put a little bit of it into anger. And I'm even happier if I put it to boredom. And I'm even happier if I put it to, you know what? I'm going to play it out. I'm happy. I'm happy with this game.
Right.
I'm fine with these players. It's all good. Like, that's the journey I want to make. But I know I have to go through the stages, and I know I have to watch my behavior at each emotion. And it's important that I practice this, because if I practice it enough, soon my emotional set point will just be happy. Just happy all the time.
Right.
Happy to play, happy to practice, happy with my performance, happy with my teams, happy with life, happy with luck, happy with whatever, it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Well, I love that. Thank you so much. Well, I would be really, really angry if I didn't mention our book, Eyes Wide Open, Volume 1. It's the world's first self-help coffee table book, and we are giving it away in PDF form for free. Go to eyeswideopenfree.com, or the link is in the description. And if you prefer to listen on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, we are also on there, and iHeartRadio. So the links are in the description as well. And yeah, it's a long ad. Sorry. Too bad. Love you. We also have a handbook. If you love us and you feel like you need help with the book and you want us to hold your hand, we have a handbook full of amazing questions that the two of us came up with together to help you, so we can guide you when we're not there. Just go to the link in the description or eyeswideopenfree.com/handbook, because we love you. And I am no longer angry. So, Jay, do you have any tips for us for how we can express our anger to people that we care about and love in a calm and rational way while still expressing our anger?
Yeah, that's the holy grail. Well, let me just double check. Do we agree that emotions are contagious?
Oh, yes.
If you're angry, your child might get angry.
Yes.
If you're depressed, your spouse might get depressed.
Yes.
If you're snippy, your uncle might get snippy.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. If you're happy, the people around you are likely to be happy.
Right. Well, a lot of times when I get mad and you hug me, it's like pouring water on a fire. It instantly,
Sure.
it's contagious.
Right. But sometimes when I'm trying to have a calm discussion with you, your anger sets fire to my ocean, sea, lake, or whatever.
Right.
So what decides who infects who? If there's a calm person and an angry person in a discussion, how do we know if one's going to hug the other and calm them down, or the other's going to get so angry that the calm person's forced to storm off?
Well, whoever's vibration or energy is more intense, probably.
Yeah. And whoever's more
Practiced.
Yeah, whoever is more practiced
That makes sense.
on a certain topic.
Sure.
Emotions always apply to a certain topic.
Right.
They're not just random emotions of nothingness. Even if the topic is life itself, it's on the topic of life itself.
Yes. Yeah. Usually, you're more practiced at that stuff.
Usually,
And so,
not always.
No, there's been times where my anger
Your
sets
practice is way better than me.
Yeah. And there have been times where that's happened too. Yes.
Yeah, and it sucks. And I just have to admit I lost. Like, I couldn't fix it. I couldn't stay calm. You were my league teams. I ended up snapping.
Right.
But it's super rare, and I'm generally quite practiced. And so I usually infect other people.
Yes.
With my emotion.
Yes. You do.
Sure, it's fine. But that means it's a big responsibility to me.
Yeah. And I'm not the only one. I've seen you do this to other people too.
I did it yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, but everyone does it on certain topics. We are more practiced than the people around us, and we will bring them down or raise them up no matter what they care. Like,
right.
Every human has some strong practice, some topic that they're emotionally stronger at than the people around them.
True.
So if our anger is going to infect someone else, or they're going to infect us with their calmness, our only options when expressing our anger are to pray they're immune and that we won't infect them. Mm-hmm. This puts all the burden on them. This is what happens in our discussions. You're praying that I'm going to be calm enough, because you're not doing anything to help the situation. You're just praying the other person is stronger than your crazy anger.
Right.
This is what people do. On the topic of money, they snap, they get angry. If the person around them is really abundant and wealthy, they'll remain untouched. If the person around them is like so-so or poor themselves, they might join them in the anger. Yeah, man, inflation, the economy, they just get angry too.
Right.
So when we express our anger, we're praying the other person is immune.
Right.
This is one option. You wanted to say something?
Well, I just had this makes so much sense, like online, why people get so like incensed and then other people come in and they get angry and then like this whole thing. And that's why I like went, because I just realized it. This is why. And they're all unpracticed and so makes
Or super practiced at anger.
Yes.
So when we express our anger, we're either going to infect others or they're going to be immune. That's
Right.
one option.
Mm-hmm.
Second option is we may inoculate them. So what is an inoculation?
Vaccine.
Yeah, but what's the purpose of it?
Oh, to protect you from the disease.
So you give people a small taste of it so that they're ready for the full thing.
Right. Yes.
So if you're going to be angry with someone, an example of inoculating them would be, hey man, I really got to vent. I hope you don't take this the wrong way. It's, I'm just going to be angry.
Right.
It's a taste of what's to come. Like you're inoculating them. Or you get up from your computer and go, and then they look over and you're about to infect them with your anger.
Right.
And you're like, okay, I really need to let this out. Please, stay calm and don't take it personally or whatever. These are ways to express your anger that inoculate the other person first.
Okay.
Or at least attempt to.
I got you. Yes.
A third option is you cure your own anger first. If you cure your own anger, will your anger infect anyone?
No.
Okay, so curing your own anger is, you know what, I need to go for a walk. This is on me. This is my thing. I'm just going to get my head right and I will be back.
Right.
Now you put no anger on anybody. You're out there walking. You're dealing with your anger. You raise your vibe on it. You raise your emotions on it. You find a healthier approach because that's what our emotions are indicating. Whatever topic's bothering you, sir or madam, you need to find a healthier approach.
Right.
Yes, being poor sucks, but you could approach it like, you know what? Lots of my heroes have been poor. I'm following in their footsteps. Now my anger is like, you got to go on your walk or take a bath or whatever you do, self-soothe and cure your own anger somehow. And you need to have a better, healthier approach to this topic. Then when you come back to discuss it with the person, you can discuss it like you're not in anger anymore. You can be like, you know what? The situation's really bothering me. I wonder if we could work on it together or something. It's like, where's the anger? There's no anger to infect anybody now.
Okay. That makes sense.
So of these three options, praying they're immune, inoculating them and then venting, or actually stepping up and doing the internal work of curing your own anger, going to a therapist, whatever you got to do, and then expressing it to someone, which is the preference, which is preferred.
The preference is healing your own stuff before you come near the other person.
Absolutely.
However, there's been a lot of people in my life that choose the latter.
Well, you used to choose only these two.
This
pray I'm immune.
Yes.
Or I vent.
Yes.
And you act like these were the two choices. You would put your hands out. Which one can I do? Do I have to hide it, or can I just express it, or do I,
Yeah, I thought I had to hide it because
you only thought these were two options.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, the fourth option is hide it.
Right. Yeah. And now I have people in my life that will say, I just need to vent. Can I call you? And I'm like, no.
But
I don't allow it.
We all used to do that. Right?
Yes, I used to do it to you.
It's a phase. Yeah.
Yes. And now.
Until you realize the ideal, the thing to practice is the self-soothing and the curing and the shifting our anger before we even go talk to anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't need to vent my anger anymore. I've said to you, I'm going to talk about something. I don't want to discuss it. I just want to express, and then I will say the facts of what happened and just to let you know what's happening. And then that's it, because I don't want to spend time. I don't want to vent. I don't want to get upset. I don't want to give my attention to whatever the particular thing is. And so now when people are like, I just want to vent. Can I just vent? I understand that you feel like that's a thing, but it took me a long time to learn that venting is not helpful for anyone. It's not helpful for you who was venting, because all you're doing is giving attention to the thing that you don't want to give attention to.
And it increases your chance of infecting others with the same anger or the same depression or the same anxiety or the same fear.
That too. I recently went to a friend's house with the expectation of we hadn't seen each other in a while. We were just going to hang out.
Reunion.
Yeah. I spent 2 hours listening to freaking venting. And in my mind, I was like, I agreed to give 2 hours this time. And at 20 minutes till the time was up, my instinct was get the hell out of this house because we cannot deal. And I kept trying to raise my vibe the whole time. And when I finally left, it was 2 days before I felt better. It infected me with all of the stuff. So you think you're just venting, but and for me to have the education I have with you to be able to raise my emotion, I was able to raise my emotion up so that I could go about my business, but it was still there. I could still feel it. And it felt like an infection. That's a really good word because that's exactly what it felt like. So if you think you're venting to let it out and express, you may want to think about that the next time you feel the need to vent. And if you really need to express it, write it down. And if you have to hate write it.
Yeah, that's a much healthier way to vent.
Right.
You do it into your own like blank paper or email document or whatever. You say your thing, it gets out, it hurts no one, infects no one, it's contained, and then you delete it or frame it for posterity or send it to that target or whatever you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't recommend that, but like
you've had me do that.
Yeah.
I've been so angry at people that you had me write emails to them, but I didn't send it to them. Yeah. I shared it with you, and it felt so good to get off my chest.
Sure.
And then I was fine after.
Yep.
So
I did it yesterday.
You're an excellent role model. That whole thing yesterday, I don't want to get into it, but you were awesome. You really showed me how to handle a massive annoyance for over a course of a couple days with someone else besides us. We were on the same page, and it was a really, really great role model. And now I see that it gave me this opportunity to see what other people do in a similar situation that I've been in before, and how I will handle it better next time. So
yeah, and you've been great. You spent all yesterday morning raising your vibe and your emotions on various topics.
Yeah, because I really am dedicated to improving myself. And I could have said, oh, well, I have to work and I have to do this. But instead, I said, I really need to work on these things. I need to raise my vibe. I need to feel better about these topics. And you're like, yeah, let's do it. Go. And I did. I spent the time doing it. And I woke up today feeling so good, so great. I felt so much better. I really appreciate it. I was so excited for the podcast today because I knew we were going to talk about this. And it's just something that I'm working on. And yeah, so Rise Rebels, are you working on anger? Are you interested in changing this and practicing? Please share in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. If you want an anger buddy, email me and we'll keep each other accountable. So, and in case you didn't know, my email's in the description too. So thank you so much. You're amazing. I'm learning so much today. I'm so happy. It's such a great episode. Like what, episode 6 where I felt like this? So in my research, I found a ton of ideas to help people with their anger issues. So I chose a few of them, and so I'm going to read them out, and then I want you to tell me which one's your favorite, and I will tell you guys which one's my favorite and a bonus one of what I've done to improve my instant anger from 0 to 10 to a 5 immediately. So, all right, take yourself out of the situation. 2, use a code word for feeling angry to others. 3, focus on what's around you, like list things you can touch, taste, see, smell, or feel. Breathe slowly and deeply. Use a grounding object or an anchor object. Journal. Relax your body. Distract yourself mentally or physically. Talk to someone. But for the love of God, don't vent. I mean, the research didn't say that. I'm saying that. So out of those, what would be like your favorite that you would recommend?
That's a good question. Before I answer, do we agree that all 8 billion humans on Earth are pretty much unique?
Yes.
They're each their own person.
Yes.
With their own emotional life.
Yes.
Their own emotional journey.
Yes.
So wouldn't their emotional fixes or emotional techniques or emotional methods also be equally unique?
Yes, definitely.
Right. So out of all that list, I can't really say which one's going to be good for which person since they're all unique.
Fair play.
And is there any way for them to figure out what works for them experimenting with them? Like, how do you know what works for you emotionally?
Well, if you read the list, whatever feels good to you in the moment.
But like, do you have to try them?
Yes.
So is there any way to do this without trying them?
No, I don't think so.
Right. So people could pick any list from the internet, yours, mine, somebody else's, and what would they have to do?
Just practice and try them.
They'd have to start trying them until they found an emotional technique or method that worked for them.
Right. Fair play.
So all that said, the most likely to work for the majority of people, in my estimation, are breathing, because that's universal to all 8 billion humans. We all have breathing, and anyone who controls their breathing will notice a physiological and mental and emotional change.
Totally. Yes.
So very, very reliable, a great place to start. But again, everyone's unique, might not work for everyone.
Agreed.
Meditation, which wasn't on your list, but is also universal, because all humans have minds and brains, and all of us could benefit from practice emptying our minds or stilling our minds or giving our minds a break, the same way we give our bodies a break and our digestion a break and so on. Meditation is like fasting for the mind or whatever, right? It's very beneficial. It's very difficult to stay in an emotional state of anger or even access emotional states of anger while meditating.
True.
But does meditation work for everyone? No. Not again. No. But like breath, very universal, very reliable, huge history of working.
Right.
And the third one, I'd say labeling emotions. Because to get good at any area of life, it's super difficult if you can't name the things. Like, that's a step one. If you can't name the kitchen tools, it's going to be really difficult to practice and get good and hand them to others and be an assistant and whatever. You kind of have to know their names.
Yes.
Even if you just call them the spiky thing with the prongs, like, you have to have some kind of way to label them. If you can't tell the difference and they all look the same and it's all blurry to you and you have no names for them and you can't distinguish them, you're in trouble. The same goes for emotions. If you can't discern mild irritation from furious anger, that's a problem. You're in trouble. It's really, really important that you can tell the difference and call them out and label them as they are. And then when you communicate to people, you're not confusing them and infecting them either. If you're like, man, that was mildly irritating, it's a very different experience that you're giving to another human than that made me furious, right?
Yeah. It's 100% true. Yeah.
So breathing, meditation, and labeling is the third one. Labeling your emotions. Understand the difference between bored or just disinterested, right? Understand the difference between happy and ecstatic.
Yes, definitely.
Because they matter. They matter to you internally, and they matter to everyone around you when you communicate them or express them or embody them. So, huge game changer to actually start labeling your emotions, and you start realizing things. You start realizing, I'm not angry all the time. Sometimes I'm just irritated. Maybe I'm not an angry person. I'm an annoyed person. And maybe I can become just a chill person. It's good that I have these understandings and knowledge of the emotional sphere and the emotional scale and my own emotional states. Now I'm able to navigate them and change them and alter them and adjust them. When we are able to name things, we get power over them. Like, we're able to manipulate them and engage with them and mentally, physically, emotionally, and so on. Labels are the guns of language. You got to be careful with them, but a good step is learning to label our emotions properly.
Well, that's great. Everything that you said, I completely agree. And just so everyone knows, this was just a small list of, there's like so many lists out there on the internet. I just chose the most common ones that I saw repeated in a few different articles. And you're right, I skipped meditation for some weird reason, because meditation was on almost all those lists too. I agree with all of yours as well. Breathing has been a game changer for me. Meditation always works for me. I fall into meditation super easily, but because I've had 5 years of practice. And the thing that has changed everything, especially this month, is labeling my emotions. Actually, like, figuring out what they are. Because saying I'm pissed or I'm mad, this told me nothing. Like I said earlier in the podcast, when something makes me mad and I go from 0 to 10, so everything is a 10, everything's infuriating. And saying, well, actually, this is kind of irritating. Or I'm kind of
Was it as bad as your divorce? Well, no, actually, I guess it wasn't so bad.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
There's different levels of anger.
Right.
And not every topic should trigger the same amount of anger.
Which makes total sense.
So it's a good thing you started labeling them and telling the difference.
Yes. And I've started actually doing it with other emotions too, because it works so well for the anger that I know that it can work well with other things. And it is. And the anger thing, for me, I realized there's a lot of stuff that I would say I'm super mad. That's so annoying. These people are so dumb. Blah, blah. It's actually mildly irritating. It's just an irritation. Sometimes it's mild irritation. Sometimes, okay, it's a little bit more, it leans towards annoyance. And my baseline actually for my anger in quotes, is annoyance. I'm annoyed more than I'm angry, than I'm irritated, than I'm perturbed, than I'm disturbed. I'm annoyed. This is my baseline for anger. And it's not even anger. Annoyance is just, annoyance.
Yeah. And it's good that you've shifted that. But just to be clear, you will manifest an annoying life if you spend most of your time in annoyance.
Yes, exactly.
So you got to keep the journey going.
I totally am because I don't want to be annoyed. But it's powerful to realize I'm not mad. I'm not infuriated. I'm not livid.
That's because
I'm annoyed.
That's because livid is way down here on the scale and annoyed is up here.
Yeah.
It's way more empowering.
Yeah.
I would rather be around an annoyed human than a livid one.
Right. Yes. And I am not, so I call them all anger because it brings up that feeling. But you're 100% right. I feel much better being annoyed than being livid or even being mildly irritated. It just feels better to me. And so I'm not staying in annoyance for very long at all because when I name it, okay, I'm annoyed. Now the next step is, now how do I fix this? How do I feel better? Yeah. What am I going to do to raise it up higher and feel good about whatever the topic is? And so together, naming the emotion and then having a solution of how to get out of that emotion.
Yeah, some self-soothing.
Yes. This has been a huge game changer. It's made me so much happier. It's made our relationship better. We are so much more happy and in love and feeling just more on the same page just because I have started naming my feelings. And I always thought, like angry, happy, sad. Like, no, there's actually a list on the internet of 350. I think 350.
Well, you used the 350 one. I used Mark Brackett's.
Well, I was going to tell them that too,
right?
but
that's only like 50 or something.
No, but the reason I brought the 350 up is because I was shocked that there were 350 emotions. Like, you could have knocked me over with a feather. Like, I really genuinely had no idea. I thought, 10 at most. No, 350. So even though I use that, what's it called? The colored box that
I just call it Mark Brackett's emotion chart or feelings chart.
Yeah, we're using that now because it's actually more fun to name the color of the emotion to kind of know where we are.
I'm red right now.
Yeah.
No, I'm green.
Yeah, and it's really cool. Maybe we can link that or something. Anyway, but knowing that there are 350 emotions was helpful for me in naming them to know that it's not just anger. I'm not just mad. No, there's actually more to it. There's more of a root cause.
Yeah, you don't have to use them all.
No.
But hopefully you'll notice that I'm feeling some of these or I'm feeling some of those. Yes. And it's more than just 5.
Right, exactly. And I don't have to stay stuck in anger.
Nope.
Oh, I can be annoyed. I can be perturbed. I can be whatever. Whatever you're feeling, naming it is going to be super helpful.
Yeah, you can be blasé.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for helping me with this topic here on the podcast today. And in general, you have turned me from a super angry, mean, rageful ball of hate into a kind and loving, generous and happy and peaceful and calm and relaxed and just loving person. And it feels so much better. My insides feel so much better. And then now when I do get angry, it's so much less intense. It feels so much more relaxed. And it's been like a month, you guys. If I can do it in a month, you can do it too. Like, it's not that hard. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I love you so much. You're the best.
I love you too. You're the best.
So I just have one more question. Do you have any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yes. Just like guilt, boredom, or happiness, anger is an emotion. It's provided by nature, the universe, evolution, whatever, for a purpose. The trick is to decide how much anger is appropriate and acceptable in your life and on what topics and for how long. The trick is to navigate it well. And to do that, you just practice adjusting your thoughts, moods, and environments until you've reached a new emotional level on that topic, until you've self-soothed. And many people before you have done this, and many people after you are going to do this too. And I believe by watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, you're already doing it. You got this. I believe in you.
And that's why we call our book and this podcast Eyes Wide Open. After today, you'll know how to navigate your anger. So now you can go and watch this video here called Labels Are the Guns of Language to help you communicate without anger and to help you keep your eyes wide open.
Keep rising.